Hey there everybody, how's it going? This is Jake, community developer here at Tailwarden, and welcome to the community call for November 2022. Thanks a million for joining. We're really excited to get the first community call done with our new name. Very recently, a company with a similar sounding name to our previous name, which was Oraculi, reached out and they asked us very kindly to change our name. And since we are in the early stages of our journey, we thought that this was a perfect moment to kind of like take advantage of the time and pivot to something that is still representative of us. And yeah, so we decided through a few sessions and a few weeks of back and forth with the team, we landed on Tailwarden. Tailwarden is a combination of the word tail, which is the most representative feature of Purplin, our cute little mascot, and warden, which is a word that aligns well with our mission of being enablers and protectors of cloud accounts. With Commissar and with Tailwarden, we always want to be able to help you to uncover costs, be safe, and to build efficiently in the cloud. So Tailwarden is the name that we landed on. Let us know if you would have come up with a different name. One thing that we definitely realized over this process is that it's very, very hard to come up with names for companies and for startups. So hope you like it. So let's have a look over here. So big shout out to Ali, who is one of our product designers, who did a very, very good job to quickly come up with the new logo and the new kind of brand identity built around Tailwarden. It came out really well, and I really, really like the logo. So let's jump into it. So today what we're going to be talking about is Commissar V3. Very recently, just a few days ago, we launched the V3 of Commissar. It was a long time coming, and it's not completely finished. We have a few features that are still coming in the coming days. One thing that's true is that in the last few months, we spent a lot of time focusing on developing features for Tailwarden, and we left Commissar a little bit on the back burner. We were still helping contributors to improve and to add new features, but we weren't spending that much time focused on Commissar, and that's recently changed. We wanted to do a bit of a revamp and come up with some of the cool features that we have in Tailwarden and add them to Commissar. We've started to do that, and in Commissar V3 you can see some of the cool features, mainly tags management and filtering. Coming soon are other features like the dashboard and the custom views, but at least for now, let's jump in and have a look at the changes. One of the main changes, which isn't that easy to see, but it's of huge impact, is that we've changed the backend architecture. We saw that the way that Commissar was built didn't lend itself well to adding new features. Adding new features was going to be kind of a cumbersome effort if we left it the way Commissar was built. Shout out to Mohammed. He put a lot of work into rearranging the back end of how Commissar is architected. So now there's one main difference, which is that Commissar now natively supports multiple cloud accounts, and we can add the credentials for those multiple cloud accounts by writing a config.toml file. So this config file will be read by the Commissar executable. So we recommend placing it in the directory, and here you can add your cloud accounts. And there's two ways that you can add credentials. You can add credentials using a credentials file, or you can add credentials by using the environment variables. And depending on which one you would want to use, you would add that to the source. So in this case, in this example, I'm looking at an admin AWS account and a dev AWS account, but this works for multi-cloud environments. You can add DigitalOcean, OCI, GCP, Microsoft Azure accounts. Just simply add your credentials and you're good to go. In this case, we're passing in a credentials file, and we have to, through the path, indicate where the credentials file is located so we can load it. Another addition to Commissar V3 is that we now add two ways of persisting data. The first way is a very simple SQLite file that you'll add to the bottom of your config.toml file. That way your resources will be loaded onto that file, which results in a very easy and light way of persisting your data. An additional way of persistence is by running a Postgres database. This can be either a container or a database in your cloud account that the Commissar executable or container has access to. The idea about adding this data persistence is to make filtering tags management easier. Like, so say for example, when we restart a pod, you're going to be able to quickly get the resources that you've previously loaded in previous runs. In the future, when we have the custom views, those custom views will be saved to either SQLite or Postgres, and it's just going to make the overall experience nicer and smoother. Additionally, the cool thing about having this external persistence is that then you can choose how to use it. Say, for example, if Commissar, for some reason, isn't your preferred front end, you can then choose to query this data however you see fit. So yeah, so this is just like an added value to Commissar. So, okay, now that we've talked about the config.toml file, let's see it in action. So I'm just going to go over here to the browser. So here in the commissar-local directory, I have the latest Commissar executable, and I also have the config.toml file located in the same directory. So I'm just going to quickly open it so we can see what it contains. I have a single AWS account that I'm going to authenticate to through the environment variables. And I'm not using the credentials file now. So now Commissar executable is going to look at the exported credentials that I have locally. The name of the account is Sandbox, and I'm using a Postgres database, which is running on my local machine also to persist the data. I'm going to run Commissar, pass in start, and if I wanted to add the config file somewhere else, you can pass in the config flag. You would then pass in the path to the config.toml file. If you also want to restrict Commissar's reach to a certain subset or maybe to a single region, you would pass in the regions flag. In my case, the majority of my resources are in the EU Central 1 region. If you wanted to extend and maybe look at it 2 regions, you would then pass in another instance of the regions flag. So for each region, just add the regions flag. In my case, I just want to grab all of the resources in all the regions. So I'm just going to pass in Commissar start. By default, it's going to load on my local host on port 3000. So let's go over there. Here we have it. This is what Commissar v3 looks like at the moment. One of the things that you'll probably notice is that we don't have the dashboard that we did have in previous versions of Commissar. Don't worry, we will add it again, but we wanted to move quickly, bring the most amount of value as quickly as possible with the Commissar v3 revamp. And we know that the most valuable part of Commissar is found here, located in the inventory page. The dashboard is coming. We'll probably have it in the next week or two. Pay attention to the Discord server, because once it's out, we'll announce it there, and we'll be really interested to hear your feedback. But yeah, our main value proposition for this V3 is this inventory page. So this is the main value proposition that we have for Commissar v3, which is this long aggregated view of all of the resources that you have in your account. You might think to yourself, but I mean, how useful really is a long list of resources? And you'd be right to think that, but the main value comes with the filtering and the sorting that we can do now that we have all of this in one place. At the moment, we're looking at the resources in a single AWS account, but imagine if we had an aggregated view of all of your resources in all of your accounts. There's already, I'm sure, a lot of work that you've done by tagging resources. Now that we have all of these resources in one place, we can start filtering and making sense of what's really going on in your accounts. You might discover that there's resources here that you thought were deleted. There might be resources here that are costing you more than you expected. But now that you have this inventory page, you'll be able to quickly access and quickly see exactly what's in your account. If it's in your account, it'll show up here. Okay, so now that we have this inventory page, what we can do now is we can start filtering and making sense of what's going on and what we have in our cloud account. So one thing that we can do is we can filter obviously by name, by resource, by region, by service. But a more powerful way of making sense of what's going on in your cloud account is to filter by tags. And we have 2 types of tags really that we can talk about. So say, for example, this S3 bucket, we can add tags here at the level of Commissar. So if you add a tag, a key value pair here, you're going to be adding it to the Commissar dashboard. your cloud provider doesn't have knowledge of, but maybe you haven't put the time of adding your tags to your cloud provider, so you'd want to do it here. So if you want to do that, you can add your tags at the commissar level, and then you'll be able to filter them that way. But more than likely what's going to be the case is that you've probably already done the work of adding tags to your cloud providers. And if that's the case, you'll be able to see them here. We're grabbing the tags when we retrieve the resources. One thing that we can already see here is that there's a bunch of resources in my case that haven't been tagged. So let's get rid of those. I just want to see the resources that have been tagged. So we can go over to the filter, and we're going to filter all of the tags which are not empty. We're going to apply this filter. Cool. So we can see all of the resources that have a tag associated with them. And all of these tags are tags that have been tagged in our cloud providers. So what we can do is, say, for example, if we see a tag that we want to filter by, we could just hover over the tag and actually click on the value, and a list will show up. Or if we already know what the tag is, we can go over and filter by a specific tag, add the key, then we're going to use our operator is, add our value, it pops up. So these filters we can add to them. So I just want to filter, and I want to make sure that I only want to see EC2 instances. So we can apply this here. And of course, only one EC2 instance has been tagged with this particular tag. So this is quite powerful, because now the tagging convention that you've put in place in your cloud providers, you're going to be able to make sense of here. So say, for example, if you have an SRE team, a front-end team, a back-end team, and you want to know how much cost is associated to the resources used by each team, you can now easily filter by the tag and easily see how much each team is spending. So very, very powerful. This is the first step in a more consolidated feature, which is custom views. So it's one thing to filter and to make sense and to see a list, and you'll also see the cost associated to your particular search, but it will be much more useful if you could then save that search as a custom view. And with custom views, you'll be able to easily, every time you access Commissar, go to the SRE custom view, for example, and see how much the resources in SRE are costing. Those are two main features that are coming in the coming days. That's going to be the dashboard and also the custom views. So pay attention to that. We're really excited to ship these features, to see how you're going to use them, to see if they're useful to you, and any feedback that you have, we would really appreciate it. Speaking of feedback, I want to give already a big shout out to Swami, to Manivanan and the HaloDoc team, because they've been really pivotal in helping us fine tune this filtering and tag management feature. It's been really, really great to collaborate with the HaloDoc team, and slowly but surely we're delivering the features that hopefully will make a big difference for you and your organizations. One last thing, let's just get rid of these filters here. We've also added easy access to your resources in your cloud account. So now by clicking on a certain resource, you can go up here and access that resource directly in your cloud account. So that's mainly what I wanted to show you with regards to Commissar v3 up until now. As I said, those additional features are coming soon, and we'll let you know as they come out in the Discord server. One last thing that I wanted to say is that Commissar at the moment has a few different cloud provider integrations. We integrate with AWS, GCP, OCI, Microsoft Azure, and we support a certain subset of the resources per cloud provider. But it might be the case that we don't yet support all of the resources that you care about in Commissar. So one thing that you can do, and one thing that I would recommend if you don't see a resource show up, head over to tailwarden/Commissar in GitHub and look at the open issues. We've added the main resources that we don't support just yet. So we'll prioritize which resources we support first through conversations with you. So please let us know which resources that are yet to be supported would really make a difference. Slowly but surely, we're adding these resources, but also feel free. As you can see, one of the tags there is a good first issue. So for any potential collaborators, feel free to grab one of the issues and add the resource yourself. Shortly, I'll write a blog post and I'll add some instructions on how to do this in a detailed manner. But yeah, so just so you know, if there is a resource that isn't yet supported, please check out the issues here to see if it's still an open issue. Having said that, just to let you know, we still have the front end position yet to be filled, and we're always hiring. So please, if you'd like to potentially collaborate and work with us at Tailwarden, head over to apply.tailwarden.com. We'll be really excited to take a look at your CV and to potentially work with you in the future. So just to sum up, we're really excited for you to try out the filters. Let us know what you think. In the coming days and weeks, we'll add the dashboard and the custom views. We'll communicate that in the Discord server once they're out, and please let us know what you think. That's it for today. I'll see you at the end of December for the December community call. Thanks a million, and see you then.